Hey guys, welcome back. This is the story about what if Naruto was master of forbidden jutsu Jiongu. Before we start, please subscribe to the channel and like the video as well, it really means a lot. So let's start the what if. Gates to Konoha. We're back. Naruto cheered when he saw the giant gate standing proudly before him. It had taken a week for everyone to recover from the whole ordeal in Nami, and 2 days for them to get to Konoha since there were no civilians slowing them down. Shut up, Naruto baka! Sakura screeched, causing everyone in a 5-mile radius to go deaf for a few minutes. Once her hearing came back, Kurenai stormed up to Sakura and leveled her with a harsh glare powered by a genjutsu that made her eyes glow ominously. Control your voice, you might have attracted some bandits of animals with your yelling, Kurenai ordered. Sakura nodded frantically as she tried to get away from the genjutsu mistress. Kiba and Akamaru cringed as a foul odor came from Sakura, and it wasn't the perfume she dunked herself in. Got to admit, the place looks more welcoming than Kiri, Zabuza said as he looked at the gates. Indeed, Haku nodded, it also seems better without a small army standing guard. Zabuza quirked an eyebrow and asked, doesn't that make it easier for people to get in then if there aren't any large number of forces to discourage them from attacking? You forget, we have the Hyuga clan, Kakashi told him. Their eyes allow them to see any incoming army and warn us ahead of time. Zabuza just nodded and they continued walking. Eventually, they came upon the gates and saw that the 2 gate guards, Izumo Kamizuki and Kotetsu Hagane. Izumo was a young man who had a forehead protector styled like a bandana while part of his hair covered his right eye. Kotetsu was of the same age while he had spiky black hair and a bandage that went across his nose. Both of them wore standard Chunin uniforms and were lazing about at the gate. Teams 7 and 8 reporting from a joint mission in Nami, with us are some guests who are interested in joining Konoha, Kakashi said as he approached the 2. The gate guards looked up to see Zabuza and Haku behind him. Zabuza Momochi? Kotetsu stuttered in disbelief. Yeah, they have a proposition for Hokage-sama and want to join the village, Kakashi explained while rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. Izumo managed to get out of his stupor and checked them into the village while his partner was still gapping like a fish. When the group walked away, Izumo smacked Kotetsu on the back of his head. Something about this has Naruto written all over it, Izumo remarked. Only that kid could convince a Nukenin to join the village, Kotetsu laughed. Once the group was closer to the village, Kakashi turned to address them. Alright, we're going to the Hokage Tower to turn in our report and see about getting these 2, he jerked a thumb at Zabuza and Haku, to join Konoha. Kiba, you're excused since you need to take Akamaru to see a vet about that injury. Let's go. See you guys later, Kiba waved as he carried Akamaru to the Inuzuka compound. Team 8 waved back while Sasuke just grunted and Sakura gushed over him. Kurenai was contemplating whether or not to place the girl in a genjutsu just to get some peace and quiet. The group had arrived at the tower and entered it to see the Hokage's secretary swamped with paperwork, something very unusual since the Hokage was the one who was buried. Kakashi raised an eyebrow but approached the woman as she looked over a form. Teams 7 and 8 reporting from a mission in Nami no Kuni, Kakashi said. The woman just glanced at him and pressed a button on her intercom. Teams 7 and 8 are back from Nami no Kuni Hokage-sama, the woman said. Send them in, Hiruzen's voice replied. The group went inside and saw the Hokage looking over a small report with tired eyes. Kakashi, Kurenai, why do you have 2 others with you, one of them being a Nukenin? Hiruzen asked, not even looking up at see them. Well, there's an excellent explanation for that Hokage-sama, Kakashi said, slightly sweating from the tone Hiruzen had, he sounded stressed. Kakashi and Kurenai began to tell the Hokage about the mission to Nami, from Team 7 running into Zabuza, to the battle on the bridge. Of course, they withheld the information of Naruto using his Jiongu, getting the 3rd heart, using the Kyuubi's chakra, and how he killed Gato and his thugs with that powerful Katan jutsu. Hiruzen sighed and leaned back into his chair. Naruto-kun, why can't you make life simple? Naruto just shrugged while wearing a large grin. Not my style, GG. Hiruzen sighed and asked, well, why should I allow a Nuke-nin and his partner a spot in Out Village? Hokage-sama, Zabuza began as he stepped forward, I can offer my abilities as a Kenjutsu master to you village and train any ninja who is interested in becoming a Kenjutsu user. Haku is the last known member of the Yuki clan and possesses the Hayatan ability. Hiruzen gave Naruto a look and asked, I stopped taking you to poker night and you bring me 2 powerful assets to the village? You are the opposite of Tsunade. Naruto just blushed and rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment. Kurenai and Haku giggled at his embarrassment and Sasuke glared at the praise he was getting. Now then, I expect a detailed report on my desk in 3 days from you two at 5 o'clock, Hiruzen said. Kakashi and Kurenai nodded while the woman knew that the Hokage really meant for it to be handed in at 8 o'clock since Kakashi was 3 hours late for everything. Hiruzen then turned to the Nuke-nin and said, in order for you to join, you'll need to go to TNI for standard procedure to see if you will be loyal to the village. After that you will be on a 3-month probation restricted from leaving the village unless emergency situations arise. As for you, Hiruzen then turned to Haku, since you are an unknown ninja who isn't in the bingo book you'll be tested in several fields to help us see where you stand. Is this acceptable for the both of you? Yes, Hokage-sama, Zabuza and Haku answered. Good, you're all dismissed. Kurenai, I want you to take Zabuza to TNA, then take the rest of your team to the hospital for proper medical treatment. Naruto, I want you to stay, there are some things we need to discuss, Hiruzen said. Everyone bowed and left, except for Naruto and Kakashi. Is there something you need, Kakashi? Hiruzen asked. Just some questions that I really need an answer to, Kakashi said. He then held his hand up behind Naruto and held up 4 fingers, shocking Hiruzen with what he was implying, to which he nodded. Naruto, could you step outside for a moment? I realized that there was something that I needed to speak to Kakashi about real quick, Hiruzen asked. Naruto nodded and went to stand outside the office. Once the door closed, the aged Hokage activated the privacy seals, preventing them from getting any eavesdroppers. How did you figure it out? Hiruzen asked. Kakashi sighed and began, when I first saw him a long time ago, I thought that his appearance was a side effect of Minato-sensei performing the seal. But the more I thought about it, I began to realize something. Kushina was an Uzumaki, and Naruto acted just like her when she was a genin, according to sensei's stories. I also remembered that Kushina, the previous holder of the Kyuubi, was pregnant and due to give birth on the day that the beast broke free. I don't really care as to why I wasn't told he was sensei's son, but I want to help him now that you've confirmed it. Hiruzen sighed. I never told you because you were a wreck. Losing every member of your team sent you into a depression. It would have had disastrous effects if you were to take care of Naruto. I did what was the best decision at the time. Kakashi closed his eye and huffed. I guess that I can agree with that. I was kind of lost after sensei died. I just threw myself into my duties as an Anbu, so I wasn't in the best mindset to care for a child. Hiruzen nodded and deactivated the privacy seals before going to the door and opened it, allowing Naruto back into the room. So what did you want to talk about, Gigi? Naruto asked. First, I want to know about what was left out of the mission report. I know that some things were left out of your initial report, Hiruzen said. Naruto sighed and took off his trench coat, revealing his new mask to the Hokage. I assume that the new heart is from Rin Boruto. He was going to hurt Hinata-chan. I wasn't going to let that happen, Naruto stated with cold eyes. He really is sensei's son, he even has his glare whenever sensei was angry, Kakashi thought. What else happened? Hiruzen asked. When I saw that Hinata-chan was hurt, I tapped into the Kyuubi's chakra, Naruto said hesitantly. And when I took that bastard's heart, I was pulled into the seal and met the Kyuubi. Did he do anything? Hiruzen asked. They immediately think that I'm a bad person, Kyuubi muttered. Naruto shook his head. He's not as bad as everyone says, he's just misunderstood. Naruto, don't you think that the Kyuubi might be deceiving you? Kakashi asked. No, he said that he had no interest in attacking the village, He said that he remembered that he wasn't in control of himself when he attacked the village, Naruto explained. Thinking about what I have to tell you two later, that story might actually be true, Hiruzen said. Hokage-sama, are you sure it isn't a lie? Kakashi asked. No, I'm starting to believe it, the Sandaime repeated. Anything else? Yeah, this might give you a heart attack, Naruto chuckled. Naruto, Hiruzen sighed, I've lived a long time and seen many things, nothing you have can shock me at this point. You asked for it, Naruto grinned as he closed his eyes and channeled chakra into them. When he opened them, Hiruzen was staring at the two Tomo eyes of the Sharingan. The old man just blinked once before he fell back and fainted. Naruto just fell to the floor laughing while the copy ninja smirked under his mask. 5 minutes later, Hiruzen was revived and stared at Naruto as he looked at the Sandaime with his Sharingan. I had a suspicion that you would get the Sharingan after you absorbed Daichi Uchiha's heart, Hiruzen admitted. Kyubi says that his chakra helped the Jiongu integrate the DNA of the Sharingan into my own genetic code, Naruto explained. What is the Jiongu? Kakashi asked. Naruto turned to look at him and said, I need to trust you some more before I can tell you about it. Kakashi nodded in agreement. Now that that's done, I can get to what I wanted to tell you. Kakashi, you can stay since you'll like this news as well, Hiruzen told them. Naruto, I think that it's time I told you of the real way you got the Jiongu, Hiruzen suddenly said. What do you mean? Naruto asked. I lied to you when you discovered that you had it, I didn't think that you were ready to know who hurt you and forced me to use the Kinjutsu, Hiruzen explained. It was right after the Kyubi attack, tensions were running high, and when I told the council that you were the Kyubi's holder, many people called for your death. And when I was trying to control the chaos, a now-deceased council member snuck up on the Anbu who was holding you and gave you the injury that forced me to give you the Jiongu. Naruto was silent for a while, worrying Hiruzen and Kakashi. Then he looked up at the aged Hokage and said to him, It's fine Gigi, it's all in the past. Look on the bright side, I've become even more awesome than I was before. Hiruzen chuckled for a moment before he schooled his features. Indeed, but now, I have some good news for you Naruto, you as well Kakashi. What kind of good news? Naruto asked. Kakashi became interested as well, good news was always welcome. The Anbu came across a lab on the outskirts of the village. Inside the lab we found evidence of horrendous experiments being conducted. However, it was who was inside the facility that concerns all of us, Hiruzen said. Who was it? Naruto asked, starting to get nervous. Hiruzen took a deep breath and told him, Inside, we found your mother, Kushina Uzumaki, and a young girl who can be considered your sister. Naruto's breath was caught in his throat and his eyes wide in shock. He couldn't believe it, his mother, someone who he wanted to at least know about, was alive. And with someone who was possibly his sister. He didn't know what to feel. Should he be happy that his mother was alive? Worried that she wouldn't know about him? What is she, never wanted him? Then there was his sister, if she really was his sister. She probably never knew about him, what would she think of him? Would she accept him as a sibling, or think of him as a complete stranger? Kakashi had mixed emotions. He was shocked and overjoyed that the person who treated him like a son was still alive, and that she had a daughter, no doubt a result of her captivity. He was worried about her reaction to discovering what had happened to Naruto when she was missing. And then he was scared, no absolutely terrified, that he was going to receive the Uzumaki woman's wrath. What was even more scary to him was that he knew that Kushina's teammate, Hitomi Hyuga, taught her a personal move she created, the 8 trigrams castration palm, 1 hit, and a man would never get up again. But you said that you didn't know them, Naruto accused. Hiruzen felt the guilt of lying to Naruto countless times fall onto his shoulders. He looked up and saw a younger Naruto with a sad look on his face. Naruto-kun, I am so sorry for lying to you, but it was for your own good at the time. Naruto looked at him in confusion and asked, What do you mean? Your parents had many enemies outside of the village. If people discovered who your parents were, Then other villages would create armies just to make sure that you don't become a threat to them, Hiruzen explained. Naruto thought about it for a while before nodding. I suppose that I can't learn the identity about my Tucson yet? Naruto asked. Hiruzen shook his head. I'm afraid not, Naruto-kun. I want you to be able to defend yourself against his enemies before you are told. Naruto just sighed and looked at the floor. Can I go see them? Naruto asked as he lightly shook in his seat. Of course, but they haven't woken up since we found them, Hiruzen explained. Naruto nodded and the Hokage then lead both males to the hospital. Konoha Hospital. Kurenai had just dropped off Zabuza at Tianai, Haku deciding to wait for her longtime partner/caretaker in their waiting room. She was now taking Shino and Hinata to the hospital to get them checked out. Hello, Kurenai. Shizune called out as she put down a clipboard on the counter and walked over to the trio. Hello, Shizune. Kurenai greeted. So how was your mission to Nami? Shizune asked. Kurenai shrugged. Just a run-in with the Kirigakure no Kijin, seeing the country under the control of a greedy pig, and said Nuknin joining Konoha with his partner, the usual, Kurenai told her with a joking tone. Shizune dropped her jaw when Kurenai finished. Sure, some C-rank missions might cause the team to run into bandits, but not Nuknin. Both teams should be paid for an A-rank mission. Careful, Shizune-sama, you might catch a fly, Hinata giggled. Shizune quickly closed her jaw with an audible snap. Hinata, you just said a sentence while barely stuttering. Kurenai exclaimed. I did. Hinata asked, to which everyone nodded. So what did you guys need? Shizune asked. We need to get these two some checkups, especially Hinata since Naruto had to stitch up a wound she received, Kurenai explained. Shizune turned to the young girl and said, I see, we'll have to go see Tsunade-sama then, she has had more time examining Naruto's threads than me. Come on, I'll take you to her. The group of four then made their way up to the third floor of the hospital in the western wing. Shizune stopped in front of a door and it opened to reveal a slightly tired Tsunade. The small bags under her eyes made her seem like a certain psychotic redhead. Yes, Shizune. What is it? Tsunade asked with a small amount of annoyance. Tsunade-sama, Naruto stitched up Hinata with his threads, and I thought that you would be better examining them since I'm just barely understanding it myself, Shizune explained. Alright, Tsunade sighed, stepping out of the room and leading them to a vacant hospital room. She then turned to Hinata and said, show me where Naruto stitched you. Hinata nodded and took off her coat and threw it on the chair, then she lifted up the left side of her shirt, revealing the crimson thread that held together her wound. Tsunade made several hand seals and coated her hands in green chakra before placing them near the wound. Shizune, go and get me Hinata's medical records, Tsunade ordered. Shizune nodded and left the room. Is something wrong, Tsundere-sama? Hinata asked, starting to worry. No, nothing's wrong, I just want to compare something, Tsunade explained. Shizune came back with a folder moments later and handed it to the female Sannin. Tsunade took it and began to flip through the pages before stopping and reading it. Well, this is something, Tsunade remarked. What is it? Kurenai asked. Tsunade raised her head, which bore a smirk, and told her, it appears that Naruto's little medical job affected your chakra. What do you mean? Hinata asked. Originally, your chakra would emit itself as soft and shaky, but now your chakra seems to be firmer than before, and more stable. Tell me, did Naruto look unusual when he healed you? Tsunade asked. Yes, he seemed very angry and was giving off a red aura, Hinata told her. I think his eyes were red too. I thought so, Tsunade sighed. Well, all I can say is that now your jutsu will be more powerful since your chakra is stronger. It also looks like it's doing wonders for your personality as well, you very different from the shy little girl Hitomi-chan would fuss over when it came to you having a temperature off by 1 degree. While Hinata blushed heavily and began to sputter some nonsense, Tsunade walked over to Shino and asked, so what's your problem? I only have some bruising from our battle, and I believe that I had strained a muscle on my left leg, Shino explained. Tsunade then performed the same diagnostic jutsu she used on Hinata and checked the Aburame's leg. It's nothing that's too concerning, just make sure that you don't push yourself when training for a few days so your leg can get better, Tsunade ordered. Shino nodded in agreement. Tsunade, are you in here? The door opened to reveal the Hokage, Naruto, and Kakashi. As soon as Tsunade saw Naruto, her mood seemed to change. I guess you told them already? Tsunade asked. Hiruzen nodded and asked, can you come with us when you're done? Tsunade nodded. Yes, but there's something I need to speak with you about, in private. Hiruzen nodded and stepped into the room while the rest of Team 8 stood outside with Naruto and Kakashi. What's wrong, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked when she saw his somber face. Oh, it's nothing, Hinata-chan, Naruto reassured her. Hinata frowned, she could see that something was bothering her secret love. Naruto-kun, I know that something's wrong. You've never been able to hide a lot of things from me, Hinata said. Naruto chuckled and said, you're right, Hinata-chan, I've always been a terrible liar when you were around. He then turned to Kakashi and asked, do you think I can tell them? Kakashi closed his eye and thought for a moment before saying, as long as they don't tell anyone else, I guess it's fine. Naruto nodded and said to his team, when we were in Nami, Gigi's Anbu found a lab where they found my mother and sister. That's great, Naruto-kun. Hinata exclaimed. But when she saw that his mood still didn't change, she asked, why aren't you happy? It's just. Naruto began, what if they don't want me? What if I'm just a total stranger to them? Naruto, Hinata started, I'm sure that your mother still wants you. And if not, you know that my family accepts you. Thanks, Hinata-chan, you always know how to cheer me up, Naruto said as he began to smile. What is your mother's name? Shino asked. I think it was Kushina, Naruto answered. Kushina-sensei. Kurenai exclaimed. You knew her? Naruto asked. Kurenai nodded and said, she was my sensei when I was a genin. Small world. Naruto remarked, to which everyone nodded. Tsunade and Hiruzen exited the room and approached the group. I assume that you told the rest of your team? Hiruzen asked with an amused smirk. Naruto just chuckled and rubbed the back of his head. As long as they could keep it a secret, I said it was okay, Kakashi said. Hiruzen nodded in agreement. So do you Gakis want to come and see if we can wake up Kushina? Tsunade asked. I'm sorry, but I have to go back to the compound so my hive can reproduce in a controlled environment. I lost a lot of insects during the battle with Ren as he drowned many of them, Shino apologized. It's fine, maybe you'll see her another day, Naruto said. Shino nodded and left the hallway, heading for the exit and to the Aburame compound. Naruto then turned to Tsunade. So, where are they? Tsunade gestured for everyone to follow her. She led everyone to a remote section of the hospital where there were no other patients in the area. Tsunade then placed her hand on a door and channeled her chakra inside, unlocking the door before she opened it for everyone to enter. Inside on the hospital beds were the two women who were rescued from Root. Both were sleeping with the appearance of it being peaceful. The older one had fair skin, a feminine build, but appeared malnourished, but what really caught everyone's eyes was the red hair that fell down the head of the bed like a waterfall. The girl looked like the woman, but seemed to resemble Naruto on some way. She appeared to be 8 years old, and was rather short, not even needing half of the bed. She also had red hair that fell down to her shoulders, but appeared to be spiked a little at the top. But what caught Naruto's eye was the 6 whisker marks on her cheeks, 3 on each side, much like his own. The woman is Kushina, all of her DNA tests were a match with her hospital files, and the girl is her daughter, but we don't know her name, Tsunade told everyone. Naruto just walked over to his mother's bed and stood beside it, watching as she breathed. Naruto had a hard time seeing that this was his mother, but was able to see the tiny details that made him accept it. Oi, Kit, Kyubi called out. Yeah. What is it? Naruto replied. I think I have a way for you to wake her up, the elder Bijou stated, making Naruto's eyes widen. How? Tell me. Naruto practically demanded. Kyuubi ignored his host's little demand, seeing that he was a little desperate, and explained, just send out a thread to her and I'll channel the healing properties of my chakra into her, effectively waking her up. Naruto said nothing and held out his hand as a thread snaked its way out and connected to Kushina's shoulder. Red chakra then began to travel down the thread and towards the comatose woman, but before it could make contact with her skin, Hiruzen grabbed the thread and pulled it away. What were you doing? Hiruzen asked with a stern look. I figured that if I used my special chakra, then it would wake her up. After all, Hinata-chan told me that the chakra had helped her heal when I stitched her up, Naruto explained. Hiruzen sighed. Did you forget that there's someone in the room who doesn't know about your other condition? Naruto's eyes widened and he looked over to Hinata, only to see her smile sadly at him. If it's about the Kyuubi, then I already know, Hinata told them. Everyone's eyes widened at the information. How did you know? Kurenai asked, shocked that her student knew. It was during the final year of the academy, Hinata began, one of the Hyuga elders told me about the Kyuubi in hopes that I would stay away from you and keep the clan pure. Well, looks like I can actually help Hayashi with his elder problem, Hiruzen with a small hint of sadism in his voice. Kakashi could faintly hear the aged leader mutter, there hasn't been a good execution in a while. This made Kakashi inch away from the Hokage. I'm just sorry I wasn't a better friend to you, Hinata whispered, dropping her head. She closed her eyes in sadness, only for them to shoot open when two arms wrapped around her and pulled her into a hug. It doesn't matter, you stayed my friend even though you knew what was wrong with me, thank you so much Hinata-chan, Naruto said. Hinata just smiled and returned the embrace as a few tears fell from her eyes. Much to Hinata's displeasure, Naruto ended the hug a moment later and went back to his mother, sticking out another thread and channeling the Kyuubi's chakra through it. Once the chakra made contact with Kushina, her skin seemed to gain some color to it and her breathing became deeper. Kushina then let out a soft groan and she weakly opened her eyes to see a group of people surrounding her. She turned her head to the left to see a mop of yellow hair in front of her. She tried to speak, but all that came out was a weak croak. Tsunade moved forward and took a glass of water to Kushina's mouth and tipped the glass of refreshing liquid so that she was able to drink it. Kushina greedily drank the water and let out a soft sigh and turned to face Naruto and squinted her eyes. At first, she had mistaken the blonde for Minato, but realized that he was too short to be her beloved, and she only knew two people with whisker marks on their cheeks, considering that she gave birth to them. Naruto-kun? Kushina managed to whisper with a hoarse throat. Seeing that she recognized him, despite not having met since his birth, tears began to gather at the corner of his eyes. He slowly nodded and Kushina's eyes widened before she began to cry. Naruto-kun, my Sochi. Kushina whispered. Naruto was openly crying now and moved to hug her. Kushina weakly raised her arms and wrapped her son in a motherly hug. Naruto practically fell to pieces after that. One of the many things he wished for was to know the love of a mother. And he could feel the affection that his mother had for him. Ka-chan, Naruto sobbed, both mother and son were crying from being reunited after so many years of separation. Kakashi, are you crying? Kurenai asked with an incredulous expression. Of course not, the copycat smoothly lied, the room is a little dusty and something got caught in my eye. Hiruzen just smirked, knowing that Kakashi was tearing up from the touching moment, as was Hinata, though her tears went down her face freely. Let me get a good look at you, Kushina said as she pushed Naruto back and held him by his shoulders. She looked at her son, noting the unique attire he had and the two sealing scrolls at his waist that held his gauntlets. You look so handsome, I bet you have to beat the girls off with a stick. Kushina gushed. Hinata blushed, agreeing that Naruto was handsome, and everyone except the Uzumakis chuckled. Kushina then looked past Naruto and shouted in surprise, Tsunade-sensei. Kurenai-chan. Kakashi. Hokage Gigi. Hello Kushina, how are you feeling? Tsunade asked. Tired, and I can't move my legs, the redhead answered. Tsunade performed her diagnostic jutsu on Kushina and moved her hands over her covered legs. Your muscles are very weak, it'll take a while till you're able to move around again, even then you'll need assistance for some time, Tsunade explained. Please, with my Uzumaki genes, I'll be able to walk in 2 weeks at the least, Kushina boasted. Uzumaki genes? Naruto questioned. The elder Uzumaki gave Naruto a curious look. She then looked at Hiruzen and saw him shift nervously before it finally clicked. Why doesn't my Sochi know about our clan? Kushina questioned. Clan? Naruto shouted, eyes wide. Hinata looked at Naruto and Kushina in shock since she never heard of the Uzumaki clan. Hiruzen. The aged Hokage froze when he heard that tone. He turned around slowly and began to sweat when he saw Kushina giving him a blank look while an image of the Shinigami appeared behind her. The strange thing was that he was the only one who saw it. Kushina, I can explain, Hiruzen pleaded. When Kushina didn't make any move, he continued. It was the council, they deemed that since the Uzumakis were nearly extinct it was all useless information. It wouldn't have been passed if the Uchiha didn't agree to it. Get me Mikoto then, I'm going to have her arrange a meeting with her idiot of a husband, Kushina demanded. That's gonna be a problem, Tsunade said. Why? Kushina asked. The Uchiha clan has been reduced to 1 member, Hinata said. Kushina just sat there in shock. She slowly laid back down and brought a hand back to her head. Please tell me that Hitomi is still alive, she pleaded. She then let out a sigh of relief when Tsunade and Hinata nodded. Naruto-kun, please help me up, Kushina asked. Naruto nodded and moved closer to his mother as she wrapped her arms around his neck and helped him pull her up. Right before she let go she felt a bump on Naruto's back. She would have ignored it if it didn't seem big. Naruto-kun, what's on your back? Kushina questioned. Hiruzen panicked. This was the part of meeting that he was dreading. He would have made an escape, but Tsunade was at the door, having read his mind. Naruto nervously undid the belt on his trench coat and shrugged it off and turned around. Kushina gasped when she saw the 3 masks stitched to his back. She was even more shocked when she saw all of the stitching that went across his back and around his arms. What happened to you? Kushina asked, starting to tear up. This is the result of a Kinjutsu that was used to save my life, Naruto told her. Hyuga compound. Hayashi was training Hanabi in the family dojo, working on her stances. Hitomi was sitting nearby with a few cups of tea waiting for them. Good, your stance is perfect, all we need to do now is work on your speed, Hayashi praised. Hanabi grinned and dropped out of her stance. Before Hayashi could say anything, a massive amount of Ki flooded the village, making the aura of the Kyubi feel minuscule. It also didn't help that Hayashi recognized that aura instantly. Is that Kushi-chan? Hitomi wondered in disbelief. When she looked at Hayashi, she saw that he wasn't there. She looked around and saw him in the corner of the room, building a small fort out of anything that wasn't bolted to the floor or walls. What are you doing? Hitomi asked. Protecting us. Hayashi shouted as he grabbed Hanabi and dived behind the fort. I recognized that Ki anywhere. The Red Death had returned. Hospital room. Naruto and Hinata were close to fainting, Kurenai had fallen to her knees, and Kakashi was holding onto the door handle for support. Only Tsunade and Hiruzen were able to remain standing. Inside the seal, Kyubi slightly shivered, remembering how angry Kushina could get. Kushina was radiating a menacing aura that made the entire village stop in its tracks. Her face was shadowed, eyes became glowing, white circles, and her hair rose up and split into 9 tails as they waved around in the air. Kushina-sensei, please calm down, Kurenai managed to get out. Kushina lowered the Ki, but was still leveling a glare at Hiruzen. Eventually that glare lowered until Kushina was sobbing into her hands. I'm so sorry Sochi, Kushina sobbed, If Minato didn't seal Kyuubi into you, then you wouldn't." She couldn't finish due to the sobs that racked her body. Naruto got up and went to hug her as she clung to Naruto while crying. Naruto held his mother until she stopped crying. "It's alright, Ka-chan, it hasn't been so bad," Naruto reassured her. "In fact, I was able to become strong because of this. It doesn't bother me at all." "You'll have to tell me all about it later," Kushina said. "Kushina," Hiruzen began, "what's the last thing you remember?" Kushina closed her eyes in thought and told him, "I remember telling you Naruto-kun's name and I blacked out afterwards. When I woke up, I was strapped to a table and had tubes running through my body, and the hole in my stomach was all healed up. A lot of scientists were around me performing experiments, and I think they injected me with some kind of drugs. A few years later, they put something in me and I became pregnant, with Natsumi." Kushina screamed, shooting up and looking around. She visibly relaxed when she saw the little girl on the bed across the room. "1. Thank Kami, oh thank Kami," she whispered, sinking back into her bed. "Why was there a hole in your stomach?" Naruto asked, already dreading the answer. Kushina looked at him and said, "That was where the Kyuubi pierced me when I was protecting you." "You did what?" Naruto shouted at the massive beast. "I wasn't in control." Kyuubi shouted, making Naruto calm down a little. "Sensei!" Tsunade yelled. "You and me are going to dig up Kushina's grave, because I know you buried a body when she died. That's what confuses me." "What did we bury?" Hiruzen asked. "Does it matter? I have my Ka-chan and my Amuto with me now," Naruto declared. "Do you know when she'll wake up?" "Sometime this week, she's been recovering nicely," Tsunade explained. "By the way," Kushina interjected, "who are you?" She pointed a finger at Hinata, who blushed under the attention. "I'm Hinata Hyuga, you said that you knew my mother," Hinata said. "I should have recognized you, you have the same stutter that Hitomi-chan had when we were genin. And the same blush too," Kushina said. "She's on my team along with Shino Aburame. And Kurenai is our sensei," Naruto told her. Kushina's eyes widened. "Isn't this wonderful, Kurenai-chan? Now you can give them the training regimen I gave you Asuma and Heiate," she said in pure happiness. Kurenai gulped, remembering the Torah training that she and her team had to go through. Most people would choose Anko's type of training over Kushina's. However, that list doesn't include a man who wears green spandex. "So who was this Minato you were talking about before?" Naruto asked. Kushina sent him a questioning look before she saw Hiruzen holding up a sign that said, "He's not ready to know yet. I want to wait till he's a chunin," and she subtly nodded in understanding. "Minato was the name of the yandere, I knew him from the academy," Kushina explained. "Sugoi. My Ka-chan was friends with my idol Hinata-chan," Naruto gushed. "We should go and start investigating the coffin," Hiruzen said. Tsunade nodded and said goodbye to everyone before she left with her sensei. "I should probably go and see my team, no doubt the two brats are complaining that I'm not there yet," Kakashi said nonchalantly. "Oh? Who's on your team, Kakashi?" Kushina asked. "Tsume-sama's son Kiba and his dog Akamaru, Sakura Haruno, daughter of councilwoman Mabuki, and Sasuke Uchiha, son of your deceased friend Mikoto," Kakashi told her. "So who is the other brat? I already know that the Haruno girl is one of them due to how her mother was," Kushina asked. "Sasuke Teimei is," Naruto answered. "Impossible. Mikoto's son would never act like a brat. Itachi was so well-mannered it made him look like a gentleman," Kushina exclaimed. "It doesn't help that practically all of the village treats him like he's Kami, not to mention he's always saying that only an Uchiha can defeat an Uchiha every time someone fights him," Kurenai snorted. Kushina sighed and muttered something about catching the Uchiha superiority virus. "I'll see you tomorrow, then," Kakashi said as he whipped out his little orange book and poofed away. "Me too, Kushina-sensei, I have to go and write up a mission report," Kurenai told her as she walked out of the door, leaving Kushina with Naruto and Hinata. "I'd like to thank you, Hinata-san, for being a good friend for my Sochi," Kushina said as she bowed her head. "Please, call me Hinata-chan, there's no need to be so formal," Hinata told her. "Alright, now I want you two to tell me about your latest mission, but before that, there's something serious I have to ask you, Hinata." Kushina then turned serious and gave the young Hyuga a long hard stare. "What is it?" Hinata asked, slightly nervous. Kushina stared at her intently and asked, "How many bowls of ramen can you eat?" Naruto face-faulted and Hinata blushed a little before answering, 34. "And what's your record, Naruto-kun?" Kushina asked. 28, Naruto told her. Kushina grinned and said, "She is perfect girlfriend material." "Ka-chan!" Naruto shouted, blushing furiously while Hinata fainted. Kushina just laughed at their reactions, clearly amused. Training Ground 8. Naruto was sitting in a tree while he waited for the rest of his team to show up. It had been a month since he was reunited with his mother and sister and couldn't be happier. Not even the special Sharingan training with Kakashi was that exciting. What was even better was the fact that Tsunade was right and that Natsumi woke up the same week that Kushina did. However, the meeting didn't go as he thought it would. Flashback Konoha Hospital. Naruto was visiting his mother again. She was telling him about her being the previous Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, much to his shock. "Why didn't you tell me?" Naruto asked the ancient beast inside of him. "I never did pay attention to what you looked like when you were born, so I never knew," Kyuubi explained. "Hey, did the old fuzzball ever give you the summoning contracts?" Kushina asked. Naruto tilted his head in confusion and asked, "What contracts?" "Hey, fuzz butt!" Kushina yelled. "Hurry up and offer my Sochi the summoning contracts already. Disrespectful woman." Naruto heard the Kyuubi roar, "Get in here, Kit, so she can stop yelling." The next thing Naruto knew, he was standing in the ankle-deep water of his mindscape, staring up at the towering figure of the Kyuubi. In the Bijuu's paw were two large scrolls. The first one looked like any other scroll, but the other one was made out of a golden paper of some sort, and adorned with numerous crystals that all shone in different colors. Though that I was only getting one contract. Naruto wondered. "You are, this other one is just something that I want to see. I'll explain more of it if you can open it all the way," Kyuubi explained. "Now take the first one and sign it, it's the Kitsune summoning contract." Naruto eagerly grabbed the normal contract from the Kyuubi's paw and opened it, seeing that not a lot of people signed it, only a few names were there. Naruto bit his thumb and wrote his name on the contract before pressing his handprint underneath his name. "Congratulations, you are now an official Kitsune summoner. I'm sure that my second family will be very happy to help you," Kyuubi said. "Just ask Kushina to help you with the Kuchiyos no Jutsu. You're the leader of these summons?" Naruto asked. "Yes, I am," Kyuubi confirmed. "All of the Bijuu have a summoning clan of their own and are the boss summons of them. However, some summons broke away from the original families. The who split apart are the cats, turtles, monkeys, and slugs." "So what's the other one?" Naruto asked, looking at the other scroll. "This is a legendary summoning contract," Kyuubi explained. "Long ago when the Rikudo Sennin created the Mi and the rest of the Bijuu, he gave each of us a copy of his personal summoning contract. He wanted us to find the one who would be, and I quote, the one who will succeed where I failed. This scroll is designed to only open for that specific person. 1. And you think I might be this person?" Naruto asked. "I have a feeling," Kyuubi said. "It almost opened for your mother, so I want to see if you might have a better chance." Naruto nodded and took the scroll from the Kyuubi and placed it on the ground, where the water instantly moved away, like there was a barrier that surrounded Naruto and the scroll. He took a deep breath and placed his hands on the scroll before popping off the lock. He then took hold of the loose part of the scroll and pulled. The scroll opened and spread out along the ground as the water moved away. The Kyuubi's eyes widened as the golden paper spread out and revealed the ancient writing on the parchment. Naruto couldn't understand anything on the paper except for one name. Hagoromo Otsutsuki. You opened it. Kyuubi gasped. He never would have expected his newest Jinchuriki to be the one that his father would have been talking about. So, do I sign it now? Naruto asked, getting over the shock that he was able to open it. However, before he could move his hand to bite his thumb once again, Kyuubi swept up the contract with one of his tails. Hell no! Kyuubi protested. Do you have any idea how much chakra is needed to summon one of these creatures? You would be completely drained, even if I was giving you a small boost. Naruto's jaw dropped and he stared at the summoning scroll like it was a live explosive tag. Then when can I sign it? Naruto asked, very eager to see the creatures that were linked to the contract. Kyuubi closed his eyes for a moment, examining Naruto's chakra levels thoroughly. I'll allow you to sign it in a month's time. Your chakra reserves should be large enough by then so you won't faint instantly. Say, wouldn't you be able to give me some of your chakra when I start to run out? Naruto wondered. Yes, but the seal is too tight for me to give you a good amount of chakra. If I tried to force more chakra through the seal, it would either rupture and kill you us both, or cut me off and mess up your coils from the sudden lack of extra chakra, Kyuubi explained while yawning. Naruto just blanched and decided to leave the seal and return to his mother. Naruto blinked and saw that he was back in the hospital with his mother. She was sitting back on her bed while reading a small book titled, The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Ninja. Oh, you're back, Kushina said as she noticed her son moving. Yeah, Kyuubi said that you should know how to do the Kuchiyose no Jutsu. Naruto asked. Kushina nodded. Yeah, I've seen Tsunade-sensei do it several times so I remember the hand seals. But why didn't you sign the Kitsune contract? Naruto asked. I never really wanted to sign a contract. I never used a lot of ninjutsu anyway, always preferring my kenjutsu over the other arts, Kushina explained. She then proceeded to show Naruto the hand seals needed to perform the technique. After making the hand seals several times to get a good grasp on the order, Naruto performed the technique with the blood sacrifice and slammed his hands down on the ground, causing a poof of smoke to erupt. After coughing and waving the smoke away, Naruto and Kushina looked down to see a small fox with 2 tails and red fur staring up at them. So which one of you is our new summoner? The Kitsune asked. Naruto raised his hand, still shocked that he was able to summon something on his first try. The fox then walked over to Naruto and sniffed him. Why do you have Kyuubi-sama's scent on you? Well, he's sealed inside me, Naruto explained while rubbing the back of his head. The Kitsune frowned a little before asking, I see, well may I have the name of the Kitsune clan's newest summoner and his sniff mother? Ah right. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. And I'm Kushina Uzumaki. Uzumaki? Very interesting, I'm sure that we'll have a wonderful partnership Naruto-san, my name is Hijitsun. 2. Kid ask him who's been in charge since my absence, Kyuubi asked. The Kyuubi wants to know who's been in charge since he's been sealed, Naruto said. Hijitsun chuckled and told him, his mate Yugana, 3, has had the entire skulk searching for you since you vanished. Eventually, she decided to wait for you to come back on your own. Said something about you sleeping outside the den for making her wait too long. The Kyuubi gulped and began to sweat nervously, remembering the last time he had to sleep outside. He was soaked to the bone due to the rain. Naruto just laughed as he felt the Biju's fear. If that is all, then I shall be going, Hijitsun said as he vanished in a puff of smoke. Then there was a knock on the door and Kushina yelled for them to come in, and the door opened to reveal Hitomi and her daughters. Kushina-chan. It really is you. Hitomi squealed in joy. She then looked to her left and ordered, get in here you coward. She's not going to hurt you. She'll kill me once she finds out what happened. Hayashi's voice protested. Even though he was elated at the Hokage's news about what the elders told Hinata, he was still scared about seeing Kushina. Hitomi growled and reached over and yanked Hayashi into the room. "Hello Hayashi," Kushina greeted in a calm tone. Seeing how her father was nervous of this woman, Hanabi couldn't help but ask, "Tucson, is this the woman you were afraid of and made a fort to protect yourself?" Kushina just gave him a blank look and asked, "Really Hayashi? I always knew that Hizashi-kun was braver than you. Speaking of him, where is that softie anyway?" The mood seemed to darken after Kushina spoke and Hitomi told her, "Kushina, Hizashi died years ago." Kushina's eyes widened and she began to shake. "How?" was all she asked. Hayashi sighed and told her about Hinata being kidnapped and Hizashi dying in Hayashi's place. Needless to say, Kushina was in tears. At the end, 2 of her best friends were dead in the time she was missing. Eventually, she was able to calm down. "Hey Hitomi, can you come here for a moment?" Kushina asked. Hitomi got closer and Kushina whispered into her ear, and she nodded. "Girls, can you give me a hand here? Kushina-chan needs some female assistance," Hitomi asked. Both her daughters nodded and went to the bed while Hitomi closed the curtains, leaving Naruto and Hayashi alone with the still comatose Natsumi. Naruto went over to his sister and held onto her hand gently, rubbing the top of it with his thumb. "Mommy," he heard her mumble. Naruto stopped what he was doing and looked at Natsumi in shock. Hayashi looked over as well, having heard with his advanced shinobi hearing. "Is she waking up?" Naruto thought hopefully. His answer came when the girl began to slightly stir. Natsumi then slowly opened her eyes, revealing the emerald green orbs within. She then began to look around frantically with a panicked look in her eyes. "Mommy! Mommy!" Natsumi cried frantically. It didn't take a Nara to figure out what happened next. "Kushina!" Hitomi cried as a crash was heard. "Natsumi!" Kushina cried as she practically dragged herself out of her bed and to the panicking girl. Hayashi helped Kushina up as she forced herself to the girl and wrapping her up in a tight hug as she began to sob into her mother's embrace. "Mommy, are these any of the mean people?" Natsumi asked as she nervously looked at everyone. "No my little angel, these are good people," Kushina said. "And this boy right here is your older brother that I've been telling you about." Natsumi looked to where Kushina was gesturing and saw Naruto. "Are you Naruto and Ai-san?" she asked. He nodded and she slowly reached out to him, and he held out his hand. She wrapped her hand around 2 of his fingers and lightly squeezed. Naruto smiled and gently squeezed her and in a reassuring manner. "Mommy, who are they?" Natsumi asked when she saw the Hyuga family. Kushina smiled and said, "These are some of my friends and their children. Don't worry, they won't hurt you or me." Natsumi nervously looked at the Hyugas before she lightly nodded and clung to Kushina tightly. Flashback end. Eventually, she came to trust everyone, even Tsunade and Shizune when they had come in to check up on the female Uzumakis. However, she was nervous whenever Hiruzen came around for some reason. Tsunade had taken the 2 Uzumakis into her own home in the Senju compound, and she forced Naruto to go with them. Especially since Kushina would blow a gasket if he refused. The young blonde was shaken from his thoughts when Hinata and Kurenai entered the clearing. "Hi Hinata-chan!" Naruto cried as he jumped down in front of her. "Eep!" Hinata shrieked as she sent a chakra-powered palm strike into Naruto's gut, launching him through a tree and into another. Once Hinata realized what she had done, she began to sputter some form of an apology while Kurenai laughed her head off. "Naruto-kun!" Hinata cried as she raced over to him and him out of the tree. "Are you okay? Speak to me!" She cried frantically while shaking him, causing the poor Jinchuriki to foam at the mouth. During the month, Hinata had gained more confidence from not only the change in her chakra, but also from Kushina. The red-headed woman seemed to have some skill in getting people over their shyness considering that she helped Hitomi when they were genin. At least Hinata stopped stuttering, but the fainting was another thing entirely. As a result of her newfound confidence, Hinata had changed her attire somewhat. She swapped out her bulky jacket for a more lighter one that hugged her maturing body in several places. The jacket was lavender in color with the Hyuga emblem on the back of it. "Please, Naruto-kun. Wake up!" Hinata cried. "He won't wake up if you keep shaking him like that." "Eep!" Hinata shrieked again, whirling around to see Shino standing a few feet away. Confused by his words, she looked down to see an unconscious Naruto beneath her. She jumped away and began to blush deeply due to the close proximity she was in with Naruto. At least she didn't faint this time. Kurenai, who had finally stopped laughing, walked over and said with a mischievous grin, "Hinata, don't eat Naruto's ramen." The result was instantaneous. Naruto bolted to his feet and tackled Hinata, pinning her arms while looking around for the imaginary ramen. He heard a small squeak and looked down to see a red-faced Hinata staring up at him with big eyes. Naruto jumped back and began to sputter some form of nonsense while blushing like a tomato. Hinata just stared up at the sky, not responding. Kurenai was sent into another bout of laughter, and you could see the smirk on Shino's face. "Okay, can we please calm down now?" Kurenai giggled as she tried to compose herself. Everyone calmed down and stood before their sensei. Shino was in between his other team members. "What do you need, Kurenai-sensei?" Naruto asked. "Well, I've got some important news to tell you guys," Kurenai began. There was a meeting between the Jonin senseis and Hokage-sama about the upcoming Chunin exams. And I've nominated all of you to enter the exams next week. "Are you sure we're ready, sensei?" Hinata asked. "We're just rookies. If it makes you feel any better, Teams 7 and 10 are entering as well," Kurenai told them. "Oh no," Naruto moaned, "we have to deal with the Banshee and the Teimei again. In my experience, it would be better to just kill people who bother you," Zabuza said as he and Haku entered the clearing. The former Nuke Nin was given a Konoha headband after being cleared for duty a month ago. He was currently a month into his probation and only had 2 months to go. As for Haku, she was tested in every ninja field and was given the rank of Chunin because of her skill. She was now sporting a Konoha Chunin vest instead of the green Haori she wore in Wave, and had a loose-fitting brown shirt and tight black pants that reached the tops of her knees. "Zabuza-sama, what have we talked about when it came to doing things like that?" Haku asked with a sweet smile, making Zabuza unconsciously take a step back. To stop," Zabuza suggested. Haku just smiled and turned around to see Naruto stifling his laughter. "Got something to say, brat?" Zabuza growled. Naruto just grinned and shook his head. "As much as most of the shinobi population would love for you to at least humiliate him, the rest of the village would go out of their way to make your life a living hell," Kurenai told him. "What about Pinky?" the swordsman asked. "Councilwoman's daughter," Kurenai said with a hint of disgust. "TSK. I'm guessing that it gives her some form of immunity?" Zabuza asked. Kurenai sadly nodded and let out a tired sigh. "The Banshee will just go and whine to her mother," Naruto said. "But nothing will happen if she doesn't know who pranked her or anything." Naruto finished with a large grin. Zabuza and Haku smirked and began to plot. "You guys better make it to the finals, I'm gonna be betting on you," Zabuza told them. Kurenai smirked and said, "Don't worry, my team's going to become Chunin with their skills." "Do you really have so much faith in us, Kurenai-sensei?" Hinata asked. "From what I've seen, this team has grown the most since graduating from the academy," Kurenai told her. "Asuma's told me that his team has good teamwork, but aren't motivated a lot. And you've already seen how Kakushi's team is. The only Konoha team you'll have to worry about is Team Guy." Hinata flinched when she heard the team that her cousin was on. She was worried that she would have to fight him during the exams. Naruto saw her dilemma and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder and calmed her down. "That being said, don't underestimate the other villages either. We don't know what they've been teaching their genin. So stay alert," Kurenai finished. "We will go forth and compete to the best of our ability," Shino said as he pushed up his glasses. We'll do our best, Hinata told her with confidence. We're gonna become Chunin if it's the last thing we do. Naruto shouted. Kurenai smiled and told them where they needed to go next week. At the hospital. What did you need, Tsunade? Hiruzen asked as he walked into the Sanin's office. She had sent the aged Hokage a message saying that she needed him at the hospital. I've been going over Natsume's blood work and found something that might give you and Kushina some good news, Tsunade said. Hiruzen sighed and said, after the large headache we got due to digging up Kushina's grave, I'll need every bit of good news I can get. Flashback Konoha Graveyard Midnight. Hiruzen sighed as he and Tsunade watched several Anbu perform a Doton Jutsu and raised up a coffin from the earth below. The writing on the coffin said, Kushina Uzumaki, in bright gold letters. Alright, open it up, Tsunade, Hiruzen said as the Sanin walked forward and placed her hands on the top of the coffin and yanked it off. Everyone then crowded around the coffin and looked inside. The only thing inside was a kanji that said, blood, written in blood. What is this, sensei? Sundi asked. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes and said, that is the result of a Kinjutsu. What kind of Kinjutsu? Tsunade asked. It's known as the blood clone jutsu, Hiruzen explained. The user takes some of their blood and creates a clone from it. The only thing that's different is that it's like creating a true clone, one that needs to eat, drink, sleep, and other things that we need to do. They also work like Kage Bunshin with the memory transfer portion, but only if the user absorbs the clone back into their body. But I don't understand how we could have buried a clone. Wouldn't it have dispelled? Tsunade asks. A blood clone can stay dead for about a month before it dispels. After that, then it turns back into blood and the blood forms the kanji that we are seeing now, Hiruzen told her. So someone must have taken Kushina after you left, created a blood clone of her, and then took the real Kushina away, Tsunade realized. Hiruzen just nodded in agreement and ordered the Anbu to put the coffin back. Flashback end. I still can't figure out who created the blood clone, Hiruzen muttered. Bah, you know that it was Danzo, Tsunade said as she gave her sensei a glare. Hiruzen just sighed, the good news? Right, Tsunade said as she whirled around in her chair and picked up Natsume's file. So I took a look at her DNA, and found out who the father was. Please don't tell me it was Danzo, Hiruzen pleaded. Tsunade shivered at the thought and told him, first off, never put that thought in my head again. Second, it was Minato. But how, he's dead. His soul's in the Shinigami's stomach. Hiruzen shouted. I'm guessing that Danzo took some of Minato's stored semen and impregnated Kushina with it in hopes of having his own orange Hokage, Tsunade explained with a smirk. Hiruzen just shook his head with a small smile on his face, being thankful that Kushina would get some good news. Later at Ichiraku's. Naruto and Hinata were having another ramen eating contest while Ayame watched in amazement and slight disgust. Once again, Hinata beat Naruto's 32 bowls with her 44. All hail the queen of ramen, Naruto declared as he got onto his knees and began to bow at Hinata's feet. The young heiress just giggled at her teammates' antics and pulled him to his feet. Come on Naruto-kun, you're embarrassing me, Hinata said as she blushed with a smile on her face. Naruto just smiled at her, but before he could say anything, he noticed something to his left. He looked over and sweat dropped at what he saw. It was a square box with 2 eye holes on the front of it. He still hasn't gotten any better, has he? Naruto asked. Hinata looked over and said, no, he hasn't. Naruto just sighed and yelled, get out here Konohamaru. The box exploded in smoke and loud coughing could be heard from within the smoke. Udon. You used too much smoke, a female voice cried. Sorry, a congested boy's voice apologized. When the smoke cleared, 3 children could be seen trying to wave what was left of it away. The first boy was wearing a green outfit with a large scarf and had spiky brown hair. The second boy was wearing glasses and looked like he was sick. The lone girl was standing tall with her orange hair in 2 pigtails that stood straight into the air. He's multiplied. Naruto muttered. He and Hinata first met Konohamaru when they went to get their pictures taken for their ninja cards. He had attempted to assassinate the Sandaime and tripped on his scarf. After a heated argument with Naruto, he had taken to calling the older blonde boss and making him his rival to becoming Hokage. Who are your friends, Konohamaru-kun? Hinata politely asks. I'm Udon, and I like math, the other boy said. I'm Moegi, the sassiest kunoichi in the academy, the girl said. I'm Konohamaru, the strongest ninja in the academy, the young Sarutobi proclaimed. And together we make the Konohamaru Corps. All three children finished as they made ridiculous poses. Naruto just face-palmed and Hinata giggled at their antics. Say boss, will you play ninja with us? Konohamaru asked. Naruto grinned and said, sure. It was getting a little boring around here anyway. What kind of ninja plays ninja with a bunch of brats? Sakura scoffed as came around the corner. Hinata rolled her eyes and said, one who has a life. I do have a life. Sakura protested. Sure, a life that revolves around trying to break into Sasuke Taime's house and rape him while he's asleep, Naruto said, causing Sakura to fume. Hey boss, is this your girlfriend? Konohamaru asked. No way in hell. Naruto roars. As if I would let him do something that's stupid. Hinata yells. Me and Naruto baka. Gross. Sakura screeches. Oh good, I just wanted to make sure, Konohamaru said with a grin. You would do much better with Hinata-san, she's more prettier than that pink monkey. Hinata and Naruto blushed at that, imagining what Konohamaru was saying, while Sakura let out a scream of rage and began to chase the Konohamaru Corps down an alley, where Konohamaru cried out in pain. Hinata and Naruto then ran down the alley to see what had happened. Naruto and Hinata turned the corner to see Konohamaru being held off of the ground by a teenager wearing a full-body suit that had a cat-like appearance. He had purple paint on his face, and had a large bandaged bundle on his back. That hurt you brat, the teen growled as he tightened his grip on Konohamaru's shirt. Enough Kankuro, stop playing with the little kids, the female behind him said. She was wearing a violet outfit and had her dirty blonde hair tied into 4 pigtails. On her back was a giant metal bar of some kind. Both of them had Sunagakure headbands. Relax Temari, just let me teach this kid how to respect his betters, Kankuro told her with a smirk. Temari just rolled her eyes and watched out of boredom. Put me down you makeup-wearing freak. Konohamaru cried. You brat! Just for that, you're going to get a world of hurt. Kankuro growled as he pulled back his fist. But before he could punch the young boy, his fist was grabbed by a clawed gauntlet, as was his head. I suggest you put him down unless you would like to be executed for harming the Hokage's grandson, Naruto said in an eerily calm voice, putting pressure on Kankuro's head. Kankuro and Temari gulped after this realization. The older boy dropped Konohamaru, who scrambled over to Hinata and his 2 friends. Naruto then saw a flicker of movement to his left and shouted, Sasuke, get out of the tree. You're making a fool of yourself. Everyone turned and saw the last Uchiha standing on a tree branch glaring at everyone there. Besides, why don't you introduce us to your new friend? Naruto asked as he gestured to Sasuke's left. Everyone looked over to see a young redhead with pale skin upside down on the branch next to Sasuke. He had green eyes surrounded by black rings and a giant gourd on his back. What caught most people's attention was the red kanji for love on the left side of his forehead. Let's see, sniff sniff blood, sand, gore, and a hint of madness, Kyubi mused. Smells like that damn tanuki. Who? Naruto asked. I'll tell you later, Kyubi waved him off. Jiagara, Kankuro gasped out when he saw the younger boy. Temari was also shaking at the sight of the redhead as he glared at them. Kankuro, you're a disgrace to the village, Gaara said as he glared at the older boy. But Gaara, Kankuro was cut off when Gaara vanished in a San Shunshin and reappeared in front of him and Naruto. "Shut up before I kill you," Gaara told him. Those eyes, he really would kill his own teammate, Naruto realized. He then let go of Kankuro and stepped back to Hinata and Sakura as they watched. "What are Suna ninjas doing in the village?" Sakura asked. Temari snorted and said, "We're here for the Chunin exams, Pinky. Konoha's hosting them this year." Sakura turned red with anger, but before she could go and get destroyed by the Suna Kunoichi, Sasuke dropped down onto the ground, making her go and gush over how cool he was. "Who are you?" Gaara asked. Sasuke smirked and said, "I am." "Not you, the one with the gauntlets and the Hyuga." Gaara cut him off without looking at Sasuke, making him fume. "My name is Hinata Hyuga." "I'm Naruto Uzumaki, what's your name?" "I am Gaara Sabaku, I will enjoy killing you in the exams, Naruto Uzumaki," Gaara said with a dark smirk on his face. Hinata shivered and gripped Naruto's arm as he glared at the murderous Suna nin. "Temari, Kankuro, let's go," Gaara ordered as he walked away, the other two following him. "I have no idea why he's interested in a loser like you anyway. I'll be the one to defeat him," Sasuke declared as he walked away, Sakura following him. "Man, what a jerk," Moegi said. "You said it." Konohamaru agreed. Naruto chuckled and told him, "You know, you would have turned out like that if me and Hinata-chan never met you." The Konohamaru Corps shivered at the thought before they said their goodbyes and left. "So what do you think?" a white-haired Kyumo ninja asked as he sucked on his lollipop. He and his teammates were on the rooftops nearby and saw the confrontation. "I don't know what to think, but that redhead looks like the one we were warned about," his redhead teammate said. She and the male had swords on their backs and had dark skin. "Yeah, but that Konoha ninja looks interesting," their other teammates said. She was a blonde-haired girl tied in a ponytail with a purple outfit. She was also the only one who had light skin. "Who?" "The Uchiha." "He had that look in his eye," the male asked. The blonde shook her head. "No, that Naruto guy, he had a certain air around him. One that just drew my attention, it feels familiar." "Then we should keep an eye on him as well," the redhead said, the other two agreed before they left. "And Uzumaki? I thought we wiped them all out ages ago," Akiragakure Ginin commented as he and his team watched from the shadows. The one that spoke was wearing fishnet armor underneath samurai armor that was usually seen in the Tetsu no Kuni. He had black pants and a tanto strapped to his back. His brown hair covered the right side of his face. "I don't think that he's an Uzumaki, Hamaguri, for they had red hair and pale skin," his teammates said. He was wearing a similar outfit except he had a kozurigama at his waist instead of a sword. His black hair was tied in a ponytail that reached the back of his neck. "You have a point, Mekajiki. 5, how about you, Shujin?" 6, what do you think?" Hamaguri asked, sneering at the end. The final member of the group was wearing the least amount of clothing. He wore black pants that reached his knees and black sandals. Over his upper body was a blue robe that had a hood covering his head. The only thing that could be seen was the small braid of black hair with white mixed into it. He just sat there in silence while his teammates became frustrated. "Answer me!" Hamaguri yelled while holding up 2 fingers and expelling chakra. Shujin flinched for a moment before saying in a drone-like voice, "I believe that he should be eliminated, even if he is not an Uzumaki. We have no way of knowing that he is, so it would become problematic if he turns out to be one." "See? That wasn't so hard, was it?" Hamaguri taunted while Mekajiki snickered in amusement. Shujin jerked his body again and took a deep breath of air. Naruto and Hinata were walking towards the Senju compound. Hitomi had forced Hayashi to agree to them visiting the compound once a day. The rest of the clan just thought that Hitomi wanted to see her old sensei and didn't question it. However, before they could get there, they heard the distinct sound of people arguing. "The only reason we accepted you as a teammate was to get into these exams. It doesn't mean that we have to like you, you freak," a male voice yells. Oh yeah. Well, once I become a chunin, then I won't have to listen to you two jerks while you stay as pathetic genin, a female voice cried. The two members of Team 8 peeked around the corner to see a trio of Taki ninjas arguing, 2 males and 1 female. The 2 males didn't stand out too much, but the female caught their attention. She was about their age, and had mint green hair that reached down to the middle of her neck with an orange hair clip. She was wearing a white top that covered her chest and revealed her midriff with mesh armor underneath, and a white apron skirt over mesh shorts. She had white arm warmers and white shinobi sandals. She had a large red cylinder on her back, and had her Takagakure headband on her right arm. "Tsh, whatever, let's go, maybe sensei can give us some new jutsu," the other male said as his teammate left the girls grinding her teeth. "Hey, are you alright?" Naruto asked as he and Hinata walked over. The girl whirled around with her fist raised, but lowered it when she saw that it was people her age. "Would you be alright when your entire team hates you?" she asked. "Try having most of the village wishing you were dead," Naruto said, making the girl widen her eyes. "Kit, take a good sniff of the air for a moment," Kyubi said. Naruto did so and the Kyubi muttered, beetles, scale powder, and clean wind, smells like the Nanabai. "She's like me?" Naruto asked, to which the Kyubi nodded in confirmation. "Wait, you're hated too?" the girl asked. Naruto nodded and the girl got closer to them and whispered, "Are you a monster like me?" Naruto frowned and Hinata looked sad. "No, we are not monsters, we're just misunderstood, you and I," Naruto told her. Hinata nodded in agreement. "What do you mean?" "I've been told that I'm a monster all my life," the girl said. Naruto shook his head and said, "No, we just contain monsters, we're not the monsters themselves." "I am no monster," Kyubi protested. "Would you rather be known as a fairy or something like that?" Naruto asked. "I am a monster. Fear me." Kyubi roared, making Naruto's sweat drop. "What are you talking about?" the girl asked, feeling confused. "Have people called you insect or something similar?" Naruto asked, having gotten the Nanabai's general appearance from the Kyubi. The girl nodded and Naruto told her, "Then you're like me, a Jinchuriki, someone who contains a bijou inside of them." "What?" the girl managed to choke out. "But all my life, I've been told." The girl couldn't say any more as she was shocked by this revelation. It completely clashed with what she had been told all her life. "When you molded chakra, have you ever seen a seal on your body?" Naruto asked. The girl nodded, told them that it was on her back. So Naruto explained to her what it meant and what was sealed inside her. After several minutes, the girl was able to pull herself back together. "So what's your name?" Hinata asked. The girl gave a small smile and said, "I'm Fu, what about you two?" "I'm Naruto Uzumaki." "I am Hinata Hyuga." "Well, pleased to meet you." "So what bijou do you hold?" Fu asked. Naruto held up 9 fingers, making the Taki girl widen her eyes in shock, seeing that his bijou was more powerful than hers. "Well, it was nice to meet you guys, but I think I should head back before I get into trouble with my sensei." Fu spat out that last word with disgust. After she left, Hinata turned to Naruto, seeing him in deep thought. "Something wrong?" she asked. "No, it's just, I knew that there were others like me, but I never would have thought that their lives were worse than mine," Naruto explained. "I mean, it's really hard to imagine a life worse than your own." "I think I know what you mean," Hinata said. "If I never met you, I probably would have been an extremely shy girl who would never be able to get out of her shell." Naruto smiled and said to her, "You don't give yourself enough credit, Hinata-chan. I mean, sure, you were shy in the beginning, but now you've got your own confidence." Hinata smiled at the praise and nodded in agreement. The two then began walking towards the Senju compound again. "Kyubi thinks that Fu isn't the only Jinchuriki in the exams," Naruto suddenly said. "What do you mean?" Hinata asked, surprised by this revelation. That Gaara guy, Kyubi says that Shikaka the Ichibi is sealed in him, Naruto told her. He also smelled another bijou in the area, but couldn't tell who it was since the scent was too weak. That means that we'll have to be extra careful then, Hinata said. Naruto nodded in agreement. Next week, the members of Team 8 were standing outside of the academy, each one ready for the exams. Shino had changed his appearance during the week of training. He had unbuttoned the top part of his jacket, allowing people to see his face. He had strapped his twin swords to his waist on each side, ready to use them. Hinata had brought her bow and arrow, confident in her ability to use them. Just 3 days ago, Tenten had deemed Hinata ready to use them in real combat, impressed with the younger girl's ability. Naruto didn't change much except for the fact that he had created storage seals on his gauntlets. One seal contained shuriken, another had kunai, and the other two contained exploding tags and fuma shuriken. He also had brought with him some extra masks in case he got more hearts. You two ready? Naruto asked. I am prepared, Shino told him. Let's go, Hinata said with determination. Naruto grinned and pushed the doors to the academy open. Team 8 had entered the Chunin exams. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed this what if and want to see next part of it, comment down below and let me know. Also share this video with your friends. See you in the next video. Peace.